your wedding consultants.
And I'm Christina, one of the other wedding consultants.
And we're here today, as promised, every week at 12 o'clock to make sure that we can go over some really awesome wedding topics and trends, and this way to get some inspiration going for you guys. So this week we wanted to do something that might help you, and that's to get a sense of what wedding timelines and planning process looks like, and we want to be able to use our in-house resident bride, Christina, to kind of help guide you and give you some inspiration along the way. So I know you're very type A, and I know that you're very organized. So I'm sure, and being a wedding expert, just being in the industry, you kind of have a level up, you know, compared to most brides that just recently got engaged. So to bring, walk me through your thought process. You know, what was the first thing that you did?
So after we enjoyed the engagement, of course, I would say after the new year, we just kind of sat down together and we discussed what's important to us. And of course, being in the industry, I was able to, gather some more information for us to present and really just kind of think about, well, what are we going to set as a budget? What is most important to us? What vendors do we think we definitely need the most? Aside from choosing our date and our venue. So kind of just gathering information. And the first step, of course, was to brainstorm on which month we want to get married in.
And having that conversation and keeping it open with each other, make sure, obviously happy wife, happy life. Right. But this way we're able to incorporate both parties. Certainly Martin's ideas are kind of showing throughout your planning process as well. Exactly. And then what would you say next steps would be? Like, would it be securing your vendors or securing your venue?
Yeah, I would definitely say my venue, they do book up rather quickly, so you want to make sure and be open to the flexibility, because the date that you might have, let's say it's June 21st of 2019, you might have that mindset going in, but it's also what's available in the venue. So be a little open to the flexibility in terms of if that's the venue that you really fell in love with, or you've researched so much on that you really want to get married there, then I would say be a little flexible. So once you kind of had the budget in mind, you did some research, you have some dates in mind on and how do you get to that date? That's a good question.
Definitely.
In terms of, if you're into seasons or the color of the seasons that might be important to you, whether it's fall or the spring or summer, or if you want to be somewhere near the ocean or something with, more of the greenery background, or you really like a rustic, really take into consideration those different elements. So that way you know what you need to take a look at.
Yeah, and certainly touching on seasons, with our couples that are looking to kind of keep it under budget, a lot of venues do offer winter discounts or winter pricing that's a little bit different from, as opposed to summer during June or September. So definitely consider that, as an option for you guys. So now that you've, chatted about the venues and you've kind of pretty much narrowed down the venue after talking with Martin with your fiancés, what would you say your next step is?
So of course, you definitely want to go and visit the different venues once you kind of did your research, visit the venue, and then come up with a decision on which one is going to be the best fit for you. And then I would also say, keeping organized is going to be key throughout the entire process.
Definitely.
So I know it can be very overwhelming because there's just so many different vendors, there's so many different, styles and things to look at, but just staying organized and knowing what you want really helps in the decision-making process. So you have your venue, you have your date, what's next? Start researching into, some of the other vendors that are important to you, whether it's photography, videography, hair and makeup, talk about the style of your dress, kind of get those big things out of the way. If you're having a bridal party, what the bridesmaids and the groomsmen are going to possibly wear, and where you're going to get those. So, of course, a lot of research online, the Knot, Wedding Wire, and of course, friends and family are a big one too. We know that, and really just they can vet for whoever they've used in the past, and that might help you, in giving you a direction for your wedding day.
And then once you kind of have gathered all of your resources, discussing, narrow down your vendors. This way it makes the process a lot easier. But as soon as, what we always like to say, as soon as you get that gut feeling that you connect really well with a vendor, go ahead and, lock in the venue.
Exactly. I had my venue done first, after we finalized the date. We had the venue, and then we moved right into photography, which is also important for us, and then right after photography we did videography because that's also really important for us.
And that was like the easiest thing.
Easiest decision. I went to look for a dress because you need about a year out or so to really get the dress order in, and you want to make sure you give yourself ample amount of time for any alterations, and that way you can kind of do things with a timely fashion, because time is of the essence, as you know, especially on the wedding day, but it's also in the planning process too, where it's important.
Yeah. And speaking of all this planning, certainly if you guys are in a position to be able to hire a planner and help you with this planning process, go ahead and go with it. It'll be a lifesaver. We always say wedding planning always feels like a third job or a second job. So definitely, having a planner or someone to guide you throughout this process is very helpful. But certainly at any point for any of our book brides or prospective brides, if you guys are ever kind of stumbling across or just aren't really sure which direction to go next, feel free to give us a call.
Absolutely.
Happy to chat with you guys and go over any questions you might have, and kind of go into what next steps are for video, but also your other vendors and what you can expect for the day of.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now that we've likely secured your vendors and we've kind of built a theme and a color story for your day of, what would you say the next steps are? Now that you've checked off venue, you have a date, and you have all your vendors secured.
Yeah.
What's the next step?
So depending on when your wedding is, if you're planning that far out and securing your vendors, maybe have a little time to relax for yourself. Take a little step back, and it can be a little overwhelming in the beginning because you just want to just keep running off your checklist and just moving right along. But take a step back, enjoy the planning with your partner, enjoy it with whoever else is planning in the process with you, because you don't want to be overwhelmed. So you want to enjoy that moment, and then maybe take the step back and enjoy some other things, and then revisit it again. You'll have a clearer mind. You'll be able to look at things, give things a second chance or another look, and then move into some of the details for the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you want to focus on the little things this time. Maybe it's the decor and the personalized touches you're looking to bring to your venue, and all the little things about what kind of exit you might want for your ceremony, what kind of exit you want for your reception, who's going to be giving toasts. All the little things that you might not think of in the beginning would be a great time to think about after you've checked a lot of the big things off.
Definitely, and there's so many details and so many different aspects of your day of. You want to be able to be organized throughout all of this. So I'm sure Christina does have a little wedding planning notebook that she kind of keeps all her thoughts. So that's really important for you guys to have, kind of throughout your planning process, so that this way at least you can pull out your notebook and say, oh, this is the vendor that I spoke to in regards to photography, for example, and this is the contact information, and this is what we talked about on our phone call. Right,
and of course, you can also keep like a spreadsheet, something more digital, so that way you can really keep track, and you can keep track of your costs, keep track of your budget. That way you're well organized, and that way you know what's happening with every vendor, and you're just staying on top of it, which is really important, and that's helpful for you. And then I know a couple months back you definitely did your save the date shoots. Yes. So that's another step into everything. Absolutely. And how did that process go? Did you organize anything? So I think it's really cute to do the save the date shoot. That way you can get comfortable with the photographer you've hired or looking to hire, get some really great pictures out of it. And I usually recommend, I did mine at least about 6 to 8 months before the wedding is when we did the shoot. So pick a time that is convenient for the both of you, and locations that mean something important for you. And feel free to bring some props. We brought some really fun props. Hop on Etsy or Amazon. They have some really cute things, and make it really personal. You want to bring some signs, or if you have the date already, a date block, or an outfit change, and really just make it fun. And that way you get comfortable with the photographer, you get comfortable being in front of a camera. That way it won't be a shock for the day of the wedding. Yeah, and then in terms of video, we also offer save the date videos as well, which is really nice, because instead of going with a hard copy that you can send out to everyone, you can also send a digital version, or even put that onto your wedding website. It's always really nice to be able to watch a film about the couple. So with our save the date films, it's kind of the same concept. We can work with you and your photographer, or ideally we would love to work one-on-one with you. Absolutely. So this way we'll work with you for 2 hours at one location, put together a really beautiful film for you, and then turn that around for you to share with family and friends. Yeah, really fun.
Awesome. So now that we've kind of talked about save the day and sending out invitations and whatnot, what's next? Are you planning right now? Because I know you've done all of that already.
Yes.
Are you planning? Are you in the process of planning your ancillary events like your showers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will be having a bridal shower, and it'll just be strictly a bridal shower, not a Jack and Jill, but those are also fun too. Been to a few of those. And just getting some ideas now. I'm working with my mom and maid of honor for some decor, and of course navigating to a venue which we've already secured. Shower invitations need to be prepared, and those should be going out as well. So really excited, and I think a shower is a great way to really get everyone, or the ladies for the most part, or the men as well, get together the close individuals who will be at the wedding, so that way they can get acquainted and they can enjoy themselves, and you can enjoy yourself as the bride, and everyone's going to be showering you, and everyone loves a little limelight. For those who really like some attention,
Our Christina.
so you want to enjoy it, and all the close family members and friends are going to be around you, supporting you in this next milestone in your life, and that's really the importance of the day.
Yeah, amazing. Well, certainly, with your ancillary events and your bridal shower, you've done a lot of the planning. You've kind of gotten a sense of what to expect for the day of. So what would you say is next now? Now that you have, all of your vendors secured, your venue secured, you've done all your event planning for all the smaller events. Now it's kind of pretty much a countdown, no?
Right, it's pretty much a countdown, and since everything's, like you said, secured nicely and everyone's in place, I'm going to start looking and focusing on some things that I need to fill for the day. And really think about 2 to 3 months. I know from the vendors I've hired, putting together who I'm going to take pictures with, so my photo shot list, what I want and importance for my video, decor and personalized touches that I want to showcase for the film, as well as photography, and then really putting together the timelines and how things are going to really kind of look for the day, and looking forward to working with the venue, who will also be reaching out about that 2 to 3 month mark to really work on the menu. Maybe you're going to do a tasting, do your cake tasting.
And Video will definitely reach out as well around the 2 to 3 month mark to kind of go over your timeline and what to expect for your day of. And also we'll send out another questionnaire regarding your wedding video editing, and kind of that gives us a sense of what to expect and of what you want to see for your film.
Right.
Be able to put that together. We have a question from Jennifer. How many venues did you look at before you made your choice?
That's a good question. So we actually looked at 5 in total. 5 in total, and then we navigated it to the one that we've selected based on the location, which was convenient, and where our ceremony is going to be held, which is not in the same venue. So I wanted to keep it a little logistically friendly, so I can not to have too much of a distance apart, so that way everything's kind of within a 15-20 minute radius.
Yeah, and I know Christina very much personally, so I know she's from Brooklyn and Martin is from Staten Island.
Yes. And
so she kind of kept the ceremony there in Brooklyn.
Yes.
The reception
in Staten Island.
Yeah, and then all of your guests will cross the Verrazano Bridge like you do every day to see Martin.
Exactly. Or the other end from Jersey to come into Staten Island.
Exactly.
So a little bit of a meeting point. So
okay. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for the question. So we'll keep the questions coming in, guys, and if you have any other questions, happy to answer them.
Yes.
So now that we were talking about having all of your vendors secured and your venue secured, you're going through the countdown of what to expect. So certainly, again, Video will reach out to you. So will all of your other vendors. Now, with the countdown, what do you think will happen around maybe the 1 month mark of your wedding day?
I think it's just tying in the loose ends that you might have, and don't go crazy about thinking, well, I need to do this or I need to do that, or should I add this or should I add that? You can then probably go crazy. So you want to make sure that you're thinking clearly, and you don't need to do everything to make it a great wedding. I'm sure everything that in the entire planning process is going to tie in and look really beautiful for photo and video on the day of. So I think it's just making sure all your ducks are in row, making sure that everyone's RSVPing to you, and you have your guest list in order, and then I think everything from then should be ready to, rock and roll for the wedding day.
Yeah, and that's always the most exciting month because it's really the final countdown of everything that's going to happen. So now, obviously you've invested so much time into planning your beautiful wedding day, your dream wedding, if you will. There are some vendors that are going to matter a little bit more than your other vendors. Like florals will be really beautiful, but that's not something that you might be able to take with you after the wedding. So in terms of photo and video, those are the two elements of vendors in regards to that you'll be able to bring with you later on after the wedding day. So it's really, what would you say, an investment,
It's definitely an investment, and it's totally the icing on the cake, I think. And just let's think about it. We have florals that are going to look beautiful. The venue is going to be outstanding. Food is going to be delicious, and all everything else that you're tying in, invitations, all the little things are going to matter. But how would you feel if you didn't capture that on video? You had everything from the wedding day, but you only have a picture, which is going to look beautiful, and it's gonna bring you back to that day. But the video is going to be able to document even that much more for you, because it's going to bring you back to the emotion. It's going to bring you back to who said what at the toasts, and remind you of the moments, and that way you can really revisit what your floors looked like, and what your tablescapes looked like, and what your outside and inside of the venue looked like, or your ceremony site. So I think with the motion and the sound, it's really key in terms of having the video for the wedding day.
Definitely.
Totally.
I know, for example, we had a really beautiful wedding in California, and it was at someone's private residence. They had little frogs croaking in the background, so that was definitely a big element for them, just because they're so much nature lovers. So to be able to hear that again, and all the personal vows delivered during ceremony, kind of brings back all of the little goosebumps that even for the people that didn't make it, like for example ourselves watching our clients get married, it definitely brings up a lot of emotion.
Just imagining what our clients feel when they see the films after 6 to 8 weeks when they receive their trailer, or 2 weeks from the day when they get their sneak peeks. It definitely brings a level of enjoyment to them, because they definitely know that we made a good decision, we made the right decision, and we have this forever now.
And then certainly, what would you say overall tips are for the wedding planning process for our prospective brides?
That's a great question. I would probably say the number one thing is to just stay organized. There's a lot in the wedding industry, and there's trends that are constantly, trends are changing, colors are changing, different styles are changing, but keeping yourself organized will help reduce the level of stress. I'm a firm believer of that. And really appointing who your maid of honor is, or if you have your sister or your mom or your right hand person to appoint for the day of, you let them know that that's their duty before the wedding, so that way they can help execute the day for you. You make them aware of all the plans and things that need to happen, so that way your photographer and your videographer have a second person to speak to in case you, the bride, and your partner might be in a zone on the day of. So keeping yourself organized, appointing a best friend, maid of honor, family member to be your go-to person, your advocate for the day of the wedding, to make sure that everything is being done as planned and executed without a hitch. And of course, having fun with it. It's a great process, and it can be a little overwhelming if you're not able to make a quicker decision, or you're just looking at so many different things and then you're confused. So really just narrowing it down and being able to make that confident decision, and then just run with it.
And most importantly, trust your vendors.
Totally.
We are the seasoned professionals. We know what to expect, and we have your best interest in mind. So definitely with the planning process, let us know if you have questions. Don't be shy. We're always here to chat with you. So if you ever want to run through timelines with us, or have a question about maybe your bridal gown, where to go, we can make recommendations.
Definitely.
You can always actually check out our website. We do have a partners page with a bunch of resources that you can check out, with photographer recommendations, venue recommendations, the whole works, and you'll be able to kind of narrow down your search a little bit more with just having us supporting these vendors that we all really love working with.
Absolutely.
We hope this is as informative and fun for you guys as it is for us.
Absolutely, and have fun with the planning, and if you have any questions, reach out to myself. I'm always happy to give you some insight, share some recommendations. As Farrah mentioned, our partners page is a great way to start with some ideas for photographers and some other great vendors we have on there. So just have fun with it.
Yeah,
that's the important thing.
Awesome. Well, have a great weekend, guys, and we wish you a happy, fun planning process, and definitely feel free to reach out when you guys are ready.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.